Is it the case that when they've got these games against Liverpool and City out the way, will everything else just feel a bit easier? Well, does it work like that? You know, the way I'm thinking of it is, you know, when you go to the gym, if you lift something really heavy, then you go back to lifting something that you normally, and suddenly it feels like it's a feather.
I sort of push it up a bit and I go, no, put it down, pick up my Snickers.
Yeah. You say that though, Kels. I remember.
But if you had a mini Snickers,
Kels, I remember when we came up and we had to play against Liverpool, and it was Liverpool. And we played against Liverpool, and it was everybody knew what that was like. It was like pinball. We couldn't get nowhere near it. And we was looking at the fixture list, and we saw that our Coventry, and then you see like who else would it have been? Sheffield Wednesday, whoever it was. We're thinking, oh, those games we'll be able to get something out of those. Those games were just as hard because they were wily, experienced First Division teams at the time, and so you're thinking you're getting something out of those guys, but it was hard. It was even harder then because they're looking at you feeling like they're not experienced enough, and they'll just do a job on you. They'll do it. I remember, I think Coventry beat us 1-0, Kels, and it was really tough. We couldn't get nowhere near them. They stopped everything we were doing, and then bam, I can't remember who scored the goal for them, and he was like, that was just as bloody hard as Liverpool.
It's almost a different sort of hard, isn't it? So like when you talk about Virgil's ball and Salah brings it down, they might not be able to do that part.
But then it's the work ethic. The work ethic. And then they'll have somebody in the team who's got a little bit of quality about him. And then if you've got someone who's wily in respects of a centre-forward who takes a chance, before you know it, you're 1-2-0 down. They'll come up against Brentford and Bournemouth and things like that, and Ipswich will go down to Portman Road and they'll feel, this is a game. And then they'll be very, very tough games.
I know you wanted to move on to Liverpool as well in terms of their performance, particularly in the second half. You talked about Arne Slot's patience with the way that things were going, but he did make a change at half-time when he brought Jarell Quansah off as well. I mean, there's a ruthlessness there as well.
It was, and
proactive. I think it's good to see that from a manager. I don't think Quansah necessarily did that much wrong. I just think he saw something in that change that will help affect the game tactically better for Liverpool moving forward, and then it worked perfectly.
He actually said he felt like they were getting on top of Quansah, and so they brought him on, and it did change. It changed it in respect to the ball over the top, what they were trying to do. But again, what I was looking at with Liverpool, which was really good to see, is top players in the moment, not panicking with the pressure, the man-to-man, and then especially in the second half, Ipswich come out doing it, and they just passed it, bam, 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 and just a couple of mistakes, we're getting a little bit tired, bam, you're 2-0 down within 5 minutes.
I think the psychology of the win was so important for Slot, for Liverpool, for the players as well. I like what he's done, Kels. He's come in and he hasn't changed too much. And I know there are people saying, well, they haven't made signings. But I think about David Moyes going into Manchester United in 2013. He'd taken over a side that had just won the league. There was so much positive about what they'd done over the previous 25 years. And yet he changed so much unnecessarily for my money. And that cost him, not just him, but the club for the subsequent decade. Whereas Slot's gone in there and he's seen a team that's competed at the top of the Premier League for a number of years. He's seen that they've got fabulous young players. They've got a terrific attack. Yes, they might need a little bit more in midfield, but Zubimendi from Real Sociedad didn't want to come. So you go into this match with a very settled side that has the belief of the manager. You guys probably know better than me. No one's worrying about, does he want to sell me, does he not? Because he's kept faith with them all this time. And if he does bring something in, it's going to supplement what they've got rather than replace players that have already done a super job, and the quality is there for everyone to see. Jota, I think this season will be outstanding. Had he been fit last season, they probably would have competed for the league. And I think that Nunes might be a little bit nervous because I think Jota's a guy who takes his chances. Nunes has yet to convince people that he can.
You mentioned there about the grumblings about a lack of signings at Liverpool and not being able to get a deal over the line for a number 6. I wonder if this could be quite a tense transfer window overall for Liverpool in terms of not just trying to bring someone in now, but also in terms of keeping players. There's talk around Mo Salah, there's talk around Trent Alexander-Arnold, there's talk around Virgil van Dijk. and some others as well. I would just wonder how big a transfer window this could be and what effect that could have. I don't know if we can't really judge any team properly till the transfer window is closed, but this could be a big one for Liverpool.
I think, obviously, we're not really used to a player turning Liverpool down, obviously, especially under Klopp. And what Liverpool have done and what they've done so brilliantly with their recruitment is that they've targeted who they wanted and they've waited for that person. And if they don't get him, then they'll just wait. They won't just buy it. Liverpool won't do that panic buy. They'll only, if they feel like they're getting out of the top four, then they'll spend some money. But Liverpool, the only surprise I've got with the whole thing is Zubimendi not going. You know what I mean? Turning Liverpool down. That was a little bit of like, whoa. But they haven't panicked. No. They'll wait and they'll see how it goes. And then I think that Liverpool, especially with what I've seen in the way they've started, and you're right to mention Jota, because he's the best finisher alongside Mo Salah, but him down the middle, very, very clinical. And I think that what I've seen up to this point, and it's not a lot, obviously it's the first game, that they're not going to panic.
No.
They're just going to carry on and see what comes up, Kels. But they do not just say, oh, we didn't get it, Zubimendi, we'll go for him. They'll just chill.
They don't really need to. I think, of course, in the transfer window, you want to see new players coming in, but I think that they've got a squad that can deal with that. I think they've shown it over the years. I think Curtis Jones can do a job in there. You've got Endo that, for me, played really well last season, and for whatever reason, he's not starting this year. So I think they have enough players to deal with that midfield area, and you know they got the defence and the attackers, they got at abundance as well, and all they need is a little bit experience, which they was getting last year anyway. So I think they're in a perfect place, especially for this year and next year, just building up and that squad growing in the right way.
Yeah. So do we think challenging this season?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I was just checking. I was like, yes, absolutely. Okay, fine. Message received. Well, we talked about Manchester City picking up where they left off. Similarly for Liverpool, even though they're under new management, particularly in that second half performance, a lot for Liverpool fans to look forward to. And we'll talk about them in a second. But I wanted to start with the other side of that coin and talk about Ipswich, because they've come up to the Premier League. They've got 7 players who started yesterday who played for them in League One. Yeah. And they put in a creditable performance.
Yeah, and it's good, to see him, his interview afterwards, he was so concise about what he was saying about how well they done. And they did. And like you mentioned there, the 7 players, and giving them the opportunity to be at the top end, coming up through the leagues and then playing in there. And they'd done themselves justice, especially in the first half, doing that man-to-man job on Liverpool, which really knocked Liverpool out their stride. Got to say, Arne Slot, he did not panic, kept going, but the way that they played and the way they approach it, and they've got City next, it's going to be brilliant for them to have those 2 games at the start, because they'll learn so much. There's no way they're going to be able to do that man-to-man against these players for as long as they can, as long as they want to, but they need to score in those moments. But they will have learned so much because they put so much work in.
Yeah, the fitness levels are going to have to be better. The time and the ball that they enjoy in the Championship, they will not have that in the Premier League. And the need to take their chances when they come. They will know that is...
There he was. Seen him again.
Was Ed Sheeran there?
At first I thought it was like silhouette, and I thought, no, I can see the shape of you.
Yeah.
I see what you've done there, do you?
Sometimes you shouldn't do your thinking out loud.
No, maybe not. But what they done, Kels, like I say, was... But Liverpool, and the way that Liverpool handled it, the crowd was obviously very, very up for it. It's brilliant. They went down, and the experience and the quality that Liverpool showed, and then obviously we saw it in the second half. It was really good to see.
But that's what's really interesting, I think, from Ipswich's perspective, just to stick with them for a moment, is you talked about them learning from that game, learning from Manchester City next weekend as well when they take them on. And one of the things maybe they learn is the intensity of Premier League matches from start to finish. There's no drop-off. There are no sort of quiet moments. And although Ipswich did create a couple of chances, one excellent chance in the game that maybe they should have scored from, it was the consistency of it and the kind of the intensity of the whole of the game.
I always say, and people always say, it must be hard, like, running out there. I never think of the physical side of it. I think about how quick you think in the Premier League. And I remember when I was in the Championship with Man City and we got promoted, and you go into the Premier League and you think, hold on, I can get that ball there, and you go to get it and the ball's already gone.
Yeah.
That will be what they learned from that Liverpool game, especially in the second half as they started to tire. Remember Dad showing in a green one talking about Trent. Trent didn't do anything spectacular or anything quick. He just looked like he was going to go that way. But because he, in his head, knows he's already going that way, he kills the defender and puts that beautiful ball in, which Jota should have scored from. And I think that's the part they have to get up to speed with quicker, because in the Premier League, if you sleep for a split second, the mental side of it.
I heard a player once describe going from the Championship to the Premier League like standing in the middle of an air hockey table.
It goes so quick.
What you learn quickly as well in the Premier League is that they'll do things where because they're obviously used to the Championship, they'll do things where they'll think, oh, this ball's like Virgil van Dijk's ball to Mo Salah. Took it like 40 yards.
Yeah.
Right, and he's probably thinking, when you look at the defender, he's thinking, oh, well, his touch was perfect. The ball was perfect. The touch was perfect. Now he's got a massive problem. And maybe in the Championship, those things where you think, oh, well, he might not be able to control this. He will be able to control that, and he will be able to punish you. And that is what they have to learn. You cannot give Trent Alexander any kind of time in that scenario. None at all. You can't let Jota get on it, and if you're not tight enough, and you think, oh, should I be tight? And then you go, it's too late. And that is what they learn. And this is why I'm really pleased for them. And it might sound like, cruel, but that they've got Liverpool and Man City in the first two games. They will learn so much so quickly.
I've got a soft spot for Ipswich. I started my career at the Daily Mirror covering them when they came up in the early noughties. And when they came up, they stayed up. They finished sixth that season, and they were fabulous under George Burley. They got into Europe. They played a great style of play. But even since then, the game has evolved. It's so much faster. The fitness levels are higher, largely because of what had happened at Arsenal. The calibre of players in the league now has gone right up now. So this Ipswich has got so much more to contend with. But, as you say, these two matches are the best possible team talk that he could give to the players, because they will see it in action. They're up against Haaland in the next game. We saw the way he played. He's had no Euros. They've probably been feeding him raw meat.
Yes.
He just looks sensational. Absolutely. The cryo chamber. He's going to be fabulous. So it's going to be hard for them, but they will learn from that.
But what will happen, Kels, is that they'll get them two games out of the way, and if they can keep up the intensity, and like Darren said, that if they can score the goals, they'll get the joy, because not everybody's going to come and have that excellent quality and that elite playing style. It's what City they'll probably experience with